Massive Steelers updates as we have breaking news about Russell Wilson, as well as Najee's chances of returning to the Steelers next season, and TJ Watt missing out on Defensive Player of the Year. Why? All of that and more here on Steelers Digest today. We have 4 different things to talk about, so I'm going to jump right into it. But first, if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button for me. We need some more subs on this channel, so hit the sub button and we'll keep you up to date on the latest Pittsburgh Steelers content throughout this offseason, including 4 different crazy things that we have to talk about today. Russell Wilson, Najee Harris, TJ Watt, and an Ireland game for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Let's dive right in. First thing, Steelers are done with Russell Wilson. It is official. It was a report yesterday, but this morning it has been confirmed the Steelers do not have interest in moving forward with Russell Wilson as the starting quarterback for this upcoming season. Now that opens a lot of doors for the Steelers and opens up a lot of opportunities for them to make a change at this position. Do they roll with Justin Fields? Do they draft a quarterback? Maybe both. Do they sign a quarterback like Kirk Cousins? There's a ton of options, but what we do know is that they're done with Russ. That is confirmed. So Russell Wilson will not be returning to the Steelers next year. I project him to sign with the Raiders and play for his old coach, Pete Carroll, but you never know where Russ is going to end up. It's just not going to be Pittsburgh. And he wanted to be a Steeler, but the Steelers didn't want him. The Steelers do not want him to return after a 1-year stint with the team, according to DK Pittsburgh Sports. This team has decided they are going to move on. There is a narrative of a rift between him and Arthur Smith, the offensive coordinator, and apparently that's not as truthful as it seemed. And this is the quote: "I'll keep this short and very much to the point. Russell Wilson's not wanted by the Steelers." That's what Dean Kovacevic wrote, like, at all. So it's guaranteed at this point that Russell Wilson's not coming back. The relationship has been broken between Wilson and this organization. It is just not going to happen. There's so many other options out there. It would take something insane in order for Russell Wilson to come back to the Steelers. There are numerous different quarterbacks out there that the Steelers have had somewhat interest in, but I think the most likely candidate is Justin Fields, and we'll talk about that more in future videos. But right now, here's another quote. What actually occurred with Wilson, according to those same people inside the team, is that, as all of our naked eyes could plainly tell us, he wasn't following the play calls. He was holding the ball way too long, and within the latter, he no longer could escape the defenders in the backfield. Team sources have told Steelers on Sports Illustrated that the team does want Justin Fields to return as a starting quarterback in 2025, letting Wilson walk. However, learning that Wilson and Smith's downfall didn't go as once believed things brings another level of concern. So there's no real confirmation that Arthur Smith will be returning as offensive coordinator next year either. They could decide to move on from Arthur Smith as well. So they have an option to switch out their offensive coordinator in addition to their quarterback, and a lot of this team is going to look very different next year. There are so many different things up in the air for this Pittsburgh Steelers team moving forward into next season, and it's just a matter of time. We have to pretty much wait it out, and it's tough. It's really difficult because there's so many pending free agents on this team. And, here's another piece of that article. There have been conflicting reports about Wilson's situation in Pittsburgh, with some saying the team has expressed interest in his return, even Wilson going on the Pat McAfee show and saying negotiations have started. But according to a source, none of those are completely accurate. So we've been lied to. I mean, it happens, right? Sometimes we want to talk about news that's not necessarily real, right? Sometimes things come out that we have to just kind of run with as media outlets, and it's not always completely factual information. Different people trying to control different narratives of the same story. And right here, I'm just trying to give you guys as much factual information as possible. And now that we do have confirmation that Wilson is not returning, none of that fake news can spread anymore, because we know for sure the Steelers have other things in mind for this team, and they don't view Russell Wilson as the solution moving forward at the quarterback position. It does appear that the Steelers and Wilson will not team up again. It doesn't guarantee Fields back for another season either, but it does seem the team will either look his way or find a new face at that position. We mentioned Kirk Cousins. We mentioned the draft. There's plenty of options for the Pittsburgh Steelers at the quarterback position moving forward. Here's another position that's in question: running back. Najee Harris is now listed as likely to return to the Pittsburgh Steelers after a lot of reports saying that he wasn't going to return. So it's this back and forth. We're playing tug of war right now. Will they return? Will they not return? Will they return? Will they not return? Well, guess what? Russell Wilson lost that battle. Right now, Najee Harris is winning that battle. He's pulling the rope his way. He wants to be a Steeler. And right now, it's more likely than not that Najee Harris returns to the Pittsburgh Steelers. And I'm not going to complain about that. I love Najee Harris. But honestly, there's so many running backs in this draft class. I'm talking like 30 maybe running backs in this draft class that are solid, even some that are going to go undrafted. I want the Steelers to at least get 2 new faces in there. So losing Jaylen Warren, maybe keeping Najee Harris, you never know. The backfield could shake up a whole lot of different ways. I would love to draft Cam Scatterboo. Ollie Gordon's been linked to the Steelers as well. We'll have a running back video at some point in the future, but Najee returning, that would ruin all those plans because Najee Harris could end up being locked up by the Steelers. How much money is he going to command? You may ask that next. Well, we asked an insider, and they said, hey, he's more likely than not to return to the Pittsburgh Steelers this upcoming season. The contract would be approximately 3 years, $27 million. So a Steelers insider said Thursday it appears more likely than not that Harris would return. He said, well, I will tell you there will be no hometown discount, but I think chances are better he returns than not. Spotrac has projected Harris' contract in free agency, and it comes to a healthy 3 years, $27 million. That would make Harris the 9th highest paid running back in the NFL. That is tied with New England Patriots running back Ramondre Stevenson. So that is around where we project Najee to be. He put up 4 straight 1,000-yard seasons with the Steelers since he was drafted out of Alabama. Only player to do so during that span. The Steelers declined his 5th-year option, so they were either going to give him a contract or they were going to let him go to free agency. Citing questions about his fit in their actual offensive scheme, especially with Arthur Smith now calling the plays. It's a lot of question marks. More questions than we had answers to, and that's why it's all speculation at this point. But right now, Wilson is not returning. Najee, more likely than not to return, but he also might not return. We don't know that for sure. It's just leaning one way. It's literally tug of war. I don't know another analogy to give you guys. It's literally tug of war. Someone's going to win this battle. So TJ Watt did not win Defensive Player of the Year, and it's up for debate if TJ Watt should have really even been in consideration for the award this season. The way he played towards the end of this season, he kind of took himself out of the running in my eyes. Love TJ Watt, but I do not think that he should have won Defensive Player of the Year, so I'm not upset that he didn't win it. He's had a lot better years in the past where I could genuinely say, okay, TJ was snubbed. This is not one of those years. But at the same time, you could argue TJ Watt should be Defensive Player of the Year every year because of what he brings to the table. So there is an argument to be made, but I'm not going to be the one making that. My counterpart, Peyton, will be creating a video talking about TJ Watt just a few days from now, maybe even tomorrow. So you guys keep a lookout for that. He's going to talk about how TJ Watt was snubbed from Defensive Player of the Year. I don't have a huge opinion about this one way or another. That's why I'm not going to be the one talking about it. I'm just here to tell you that he officially did not win. And he did receive 3 first-place votes, but he went quiet in the last month of the season. And that's the problem, is he failed to register a statistic. That was his ultimate due, right? So he was in the running, and then he wasn't, because you have a bad finish to the season. You see the dominance of a guy like Pat Surtain and what he did for the Denver Broncos. It's kind of undeniable at that point. If you have a cornerback season like Pat Surtain had, you deserve to win Defensive Player of the Year. And I really do like the idea of corners winning this award. He's the first corner since 2019 to win the award, since Stephon Gilmore. And, TJ Watt, he just struggled at the end. That's really what it was. You could make the argument that Aiden Hutchinson or Max Crosby would have won the award if they would have stayed healthy. So it just wasn't TJ's year. He wasn't the best defensive player. I'm not going to argue that at all. I think Pat Surtain was very deserving, and I'm okay with it. But like I said, Peyton's going to be making a video for you guys about TJ Watt being potentially snubbed and why he should have won it. Because if you look at how MVP turned out with Josh Allen, sometimes it's the most valuable player to the team. And you could argue that TJ Watt's the most valuable player to his team out of all defensive players in the league because of what he does for the Pittsburgh Steelers on a daily basis. So sometimes the stats don't always show what you do in a game, and he's a true game wrecker. So you could make the argument that he was snubbed if you want to look at it the same way that MVP is finally being looked at as a most valuable player to their team type of award. Who was the best offensive player? Who was the best defensive player? Well, if he was the most valuable defensive player, then maybe he should have won Defensive Player of the Year. So that might be the argument. As we go into the final aspect of today's video, Steelers will play in Ireland. It is official. It was announced today. So it's pretty much breaking news at this point. The Steelers will be playing the first ever NFL game in Ireland. This is really good news, Steelers Nation. We're going to be getting some new fans over there in Ireland, possibly playing a game overseas. I love that the NFL has been doing this, playing games in different countries, exposing them to the greatness of American football. We have this different game over here than they play in the rest of the world. They call soccer football. We call this football. We throw the pigskin around here in America. So we get to show them what our football looks like and how exciting it is and how superior it is to soccer. No offense, soccer fans, but if you're a soccer fan, you're probably not watching this video anyways. The Steelers are going to play in Ireland. This is really awesome. Dublin, Ireland in 2025. The league announced it on Friday, and the Steelers will play as the designated team, which means the home team, in the historic game. We don't know who they're going to play yet. We're still waiting to see that, but the Steelers will play in the game. The NFL announced this Friday morning. They will be playing at Croke Park in Dublin, the largest sporting arena in Ireland. So that's awesome. And you see this quote here from Art Rooney. We are very excited to be the designated team in the first regular season game to be played in Ireland this upcoming season. The opportunity for the Pittsburgh Steelers to play in Ireland is truly special, not only because of the Rooney family history there, but it's also to play in front of the growing number of Steelers fans in Ireland. And again, it's unknown who they will play in this game, but they will be playing this game nevertheless. We'll have more information in spring of 2025 here about maybe their opponent and what portion of the season we're going to see this game played in. But we do know we're playing in Ireland, and we're going to be the home team. So that's awesome. Thank you guys for watching this video. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. We really appreciate it. Let's keep this channel booming all off season long. Steelers coverage. We love our team, and we love to talk about it here with you guys on Steelers Digest. We'll see you on the next video, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel.